Hello everyone, you're welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinoxe Television, live from my headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Babli Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news: detained Anglophone crisis leaders Sissiku Co and others decry and protest against what they consider as the violation of their rights. They were at the Center Court of Appeal in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. Today, a bomb or an explosive device explodes in a public transport bus. The bus left Bamenda heading to Yaoundé. We'll be giving you details in this newscast, and also in the newscast we'll tell you about the new strongman of Mali. Colonel Assimi Goïta has declared himself chairman of the National Committee for the Salvation of the People of Mali after the ousting of President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. Thanks for joining us at this news hour on Equinoxe Television. 4 persons are reported dead in a road accident in the central region of the country. The accident occurred on the way leading to Ngolbang Zoitele. It is, of course, in the central region of the country, and the accident occurred at a bend qualified as dangerous earlier today. A public transport bus came into a collision with a heavy-duty truck, and 4 persons are reported to have died on the spot. An explosive device explodes in a cargo section, the cargo section of a bus on the Bamenda Bafoussam Highway. The device exploded in a 70-seater bus of Amumezam Interurban Transport Agency, a few meters away from the security control point in the Akum. Witness accounts see the passengers came out of the bus before the explosion, and the bus left Bamenda earlier today and was heading to the nation's capital, Yaoundé, where several explosions have been recorded in Damas neighborhood. Detained Anglophone crisis leaders Sissiku Co and 8 others appeared in the Center Court of Appeal in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, today, and lawyers of the detained leaders say even before their names were read, the judge adjourned all matters to September 17, 2020, and he said the case was adjourned because of the absence of the panel of 3 judges handling the matter. The detainees are protesting against the violation of their rights. In the same vein, Tassan Wilfred was absent, and for greater details, here's an extract of what one of the lawyers of the detained Anglophone leaders, Barrister Fu Joseph, told Equinoxe Television. Take a listen.
The court explained that because all three members of the panel have been transferred, they'll need time to reconstitute the bench and continue with the matter. But before the session ended, lead counsel Paddy Young and Batonier Etabisson, they indicated that our clients were protesting the fact that they could not have access to their lawyers while incarcerated. And even though we understand that this is a coronavirus period where social distancing is very important, the constitutional and the fundamental right of our clients to be able to have access to their lawyers is primordial. And so they came, 9 of them in court, they were present to physically protest the fact that they've not been able to have access to their lawyers. The second prong of that protest was the fact that Deacon Wilfred Tassan did not show up in court to manifest his protest against this very issue. Mr. Tabe was very, very insistent. He was very, very strong. He wanted the world to be clear about the fact that they wanted access to
is out of their villages because of the conflict, because of the armed conflict in the two English-speaking regions of the Republic of Cameroon, and some of them are in different parts of the country, in Yaoundé and Douala. And the Minister of Territorial Administration, Tanganji Paul, has urged them to return to their areas in order to continue efforts to restore peace and normalcy in the two Anglophone regions of the country. He was speaking in a meeting with them yesterday, during which he also promised that government will help them to go back to their areas of residence, their villages. But they are questioning government on the measures that are supposed to be put in place to ensure their security, to ensure that they are not killed after their return. Details in this report by Immaculate Fogwe.
As gun battles, killings, burning of houses, kidnappings and other atrocities continue in the conflict-hit northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, hundreds of thousands of people have been forced out of their homes. Some of their villages have been deserted and others deprived of their traditional rulers. According to some traditional rulers, many of them had to flee away from their palaces after being accused by separatist fighters of supporting the military by disclosing their hideouts. During a meeting with traditional rulers in Yaoundé, Minister Paul Tanganji sought to know why some traditional rulers had to abandon their palaces.
This meeting was held under the esteemed instructions of His Excellency President Paul Biya, who was informed that for the past 2 years, many funds from the northwest and southwest regions are raising in Yaoundé. And you know, President Paul Biya himself is a fond of funds. So he wanted to understand why are the funds still in Yaoundé, whereas in certain places in the regions, we can say that calm has returned.
For over 3-4 years, we've been crying, we've been pleading with the administration, with the government to help us come back. Because if we go back to our palaces, obviously our people who identify us as their leaders will follow suit, will follow us back to the villages, and life will come back to normalcy. So it's a very, very good initiative. I want to thank the minister for the promises he has made to put everything in place so that we can go back to our palaces.
During the meeting, Minister Paul Tanganji told the traditional rulers to return to their palaces while preparing for the regional elections. He equally reminded them of their role in the implementation of the reconstruction of the northwest and southwest regions.
Now we have some preliminary things to do before the funds go back. We will make a comprehensive report to the powers that be, and the elites, the ministers, the parliamentarians, even the business community, they have accepted to contribute monies financially to assist and accompany some of these funds who have been victims of wanton destructions and atrocities committed by the terrorists. So I think the funds are in a mood to go back, and I think that when we must have made a report to the powers that be, they can now resettle in their different regions because they are the auxiliaries of the administration.
The funds are the custodian of our tradition, and in these palaces that we have social cohesion. So it's just through the palaces that we can get peace, effective peace, to come back to our community. And now that we have relative calm in our communities, we want to make sure that they go back and assist the community bring back peace, so that the reconstruction committee that has been put in place by Prime Minister, head of government, can have an effective role to play. So we also came here, so we assured the funds that President Bobia being the funds of funds and the Prime Minister, head of government, equally being a fund, for them to know that they have not been abandoned, that we know of their.
Traditional rulers have been called upon to sensitize their population for them to shun away from violence and rather embrace dialogue. The question many Cameroonians are asking is to know the measures taken by the government to ensure the safety of these leaders at a time when killings and burning of houses is still ongoing.
And some traditional rulers in the Kamer Central subdivision have stood up to say no to any form of violence, regardless of the source, and they are calling on the gods to punish and even kill all persons who are promoting violence in the two Anglophone regions of the country. And of course, we'll be coming back to this report in a short while. Time for us to talk about the tense situation reigning in Banga in the Mongo Division, littoral region of the Republic of Cameroon. Tension has characterized that part of the littoral region following the killing of a commercial motorbike rider, and the Banga divisional officers reassured the population that security, or better still forces of law and order, are tracking down those who killed the commercial motorbike rider. Details in this report by Smanji Gangebre.
Death of Nganta Michel Abitan, a commercial bike rider who resides in Quarter 2, Banga Mongo Division, for the past days has created tension in the locality. The demise of the bike rider caused an uproar in Banga, which led to the destruction of private properties. The house of a woman alleged to be keeping the culprits was destroyed, and properties of one of the alleged bandits.
We must emphasize that they were not only motorbike riders, delinquents and other bandits who came into that movement with the intention of taking advantage. You know, in every situation, people want to always take advantage. And so that is how they went to the home of the lady that is supposed simply to be the matron of that group of motorbike riders who happen to have participated in the murder of their member, to avenge, as they claimed.
The deployment of the forces of law and order to an extent stopped more damages to be caused.
I must emphasize that the forces of law and order were already deployed. The number of motorbike riders were more than we could contain. But after every other thing and talking to them and trying to make them understand and see reason with administration, actions that have been taken in terms of the investigations in order to arrest the various suspects or culprits or whoever are taken part. Equally, the reassurance also of the fact that the situation of the young man who had died was going to be taken care of by the administration. All of these elements put together brought them down.
Due to the tension that characterized the town, a clash of religion almost occurred.
There is a general tendency to want to steam or flame religious tendencies or confrontations, because that is exactly where we were almost driving to. The problem of saying that they are Muslims against a number of other group of persons. So we have been able to, first of all, contain that situation.
The body of young Nganta Michel Abitan is at the mortuary while security forces continue. Commercial motorcycles, spare parts of cars and motorcycles, and contraband goods alongside drugs were some of the items presented by the elements of the Bibimi Gendarmerie Brigade in Garwa, Far North region.
What we have seen is just a little, if I would say, just some few elements we have just taken. The others are ongoing, the operation is ongoing, and you will see more and more of those criminals. It is important to say that the situation in the region is under control, but we have to maintain this type of pressure on criminals so that they don't go out of hand.
These items were caught alongside more than 20 alleged bandits in an operation that took place in Padami, Mayolopi, Bibeme Center, and Adumre localities, where the armed bandits carry out their activities.
In order to fight against all type of crimes, we can talk about the illicit sale of goods between the border countries. We also have people who take people on kidnapping and ask for ransoms. We also have, as you have seen, the consumption of illegal drugs and the transporting and sale of these drugs, illicit sale of materials, contrabands, and that of fighting against customs fraud. That's why we're here in the field.
Amongst the alleged bandits presented were 10 Chadians and 5 Nigerians. The security forces say without the collaboration of the population, they won't succeed.
It's important to highlight the fact that the General and I we have come here to make sure that there's collaboration between the population and these forces. These forces cannot succeed if the population do not defend us, do not assist us, or if the population does not stand on our side. It's also important that the forces who have been deployed in this area work not only with the vigilante groups, but also with the administrative authorities and traditional leaders.
The operation dubbed Adamawa North is to fight against high criminality and cross-border trafficking in the North and Adamawa regions.
Now, out of Cameroon, Army Colonel Assimi Goïta is the new strongman in Mali. He has declared himself chairman of the National Committee for the Salvation of the People of Mali after the ousting of President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta and his government. Innocent Aziz.
Colonel Assimi Goïta introduced himself as Mali's new military strongman on Wednesday, a day after a coup that was condemned by the international community but won support from the country's opposition. In the Malian capital Bamako, Goïta, after meeting top civil servants, said that he was the leader of the National Committee for the Salvation of the People that has seized power. Surrounded by armed military men, Goïta told Malians the country is in a situation of socio-political crisis, thus no more room for mistakes. Several military men whispered that Goïta was the true force behind the coup. Also that the new strongman in his 40s had until now headed Mali's special forces based in the center of the West African country, torn for the last 5 years by jihadists and the sectarian violence. Fellow coup leaders, meanwhile, called on the population to return to normal life, warned against acts of vandalism and threatened to punish any soldier found guilty of extortion.
Et rassure les populations que toutes les dispositions sont prises pour la protection des personnels et des biens, ainsi que les lieux de travail.
The opposition coalition M5-RFP said in a statement that it took note of the commitment the junta has made to open a civilian political transition and will work with it on developing a roadmap. Meantime, a leading voice in demonstrations against the ousted Malian government, Mahmoud Diko, on Wednesday said he would withdraw from politics despite promise of a return to democracy in the time by leaders of the military coup. Earlier, the mutineers had refuted allegations there were any casualties from Tuesday's violence. But human rights group Amnesty International dismissed the claims. In a statement issued on Wednesday, it said it had documented the death of 4 people, while 15 more were wounded by bullets. The mood in Mali remains calm.
Talking Point is up next. Thanks for staying with us in Talking Points. Today we are receiving a traditional leader from the northwest region of the country, Chief Joseph Mofo. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babila Jonathan, for your prestigious program. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. The Minister of Territorial Administration, Atanganji Paul, is urging all the traditional leaders from the 2 Anglophone regions of the country who were forced out of their palaces, their villages by the crisis, and have been living in Yaoundé and other parts of the country to go back home. What do you think about that call?
Well, traditional rulers have an important role to play in this crisis governing the two regions, the Northwest and the Southwest. I will say this with a lot of precision. The guys who are really troubling the two regions, these traditional rulers can contribute with the helps of the Ministry of Territorial Administrations and the head of state, who is the first traditional ruler, to call them. They sit down, they call these guys, they negotiate, they agree on a peace settlement so that peace should reign in these two regions.
When you look at the present situation in the two Anglophone regions of the country, do you think that it's going to be possible for those traditional rulers of areas that have been deserted, that are completely empty, villages and or the villages where houses have been burnt down, to go back?
The problem actually now is not the houses. The problem is to sit down with these traditional rulers, phones of villages, and negotiate with these children. They know sons and daughters of these villages that they are troubling. They are saying there is war. There's no war. There's no war? There is no war. Those are criminals who are really troubling, looking for solutions in another way. If had it been, they give possibility to these phones to really call sons of these villages, that they should sit down and negotiate in a peace platform, not neglecting somebody, not giving a conditional dialogue, pushing out people that there are concerns to the problems before negotiating. It would have been better. All the phones of these two regions need to be called so that they sit down, they see to the problems. They can call their sons from bushes to come and sit down and they negotiate the problem.
And that's why the minister is asking them to go back home so that they can be able to do what you're saying now. But the question is can they go back home, because they are also raising concerns about their security?
Their security is very, very in danger, because some of these phones have been killed during the crisis. Some of them have been treated to take away their life. They have run away with their dear life, simply to the fact that the government have not taken the really measures in order to secure them, so that they should dialogue with their children who are angry.
And now the minister is asking them to go back to the villages. What should be done so that should they be transported to the villages in armored cars? Should soldiers be deployed to guard and protect them as they go back and so on?
The minister should really look as their security is concerned. Nobody will accept such a position to go back and bear a serious risk of that nature. They can send security, but will that security be everlasting? Will that bring a solution? Will that security bring a solution so that the crisis will end? I say no. They should call all this phone and dialogue first with them, the minister and the head of state, who is the first phone. Dialogue with them, agree with them how to go back and meet their children, so that they can agree and they come back with solutions, proposals that those children have made to the government, so that peace should reign in this country.
That's what the minister was doing yesterday, discussing with the funds who have been forced out of their homes and who are living out of their villages. But you're talking about dialogue with the funds. There are other political leaders, notably of the opposition, and civil society leaders, and even international organizations who think that government should rather dialogue with the separatist leaders. Government should negotiate with them. What do you think about that?
This problem of calling phones, other phones are not involved in politics. Others are involved. Calling just phones that they have problems within their community, they would have called all the phones so that they team themselves in Yaoundé. Those that they have problems, those that they don't have problems, they should sit down together. They should not neglect other phones simply because they don't have problems. These problems is escalating to this level just because some certain measures were not taken when it started. Had it been serious measures were taken and all these funds of the Northwest and Southwest were called in Yaoundé, they sit together, they look a suitable place, they sit, they can even discuss it for 2-3 days before coming to a particular national dialogue. They have given proposals. Solution would have been taken long ago.
Yeah, what can the funds do in this present situation?
In these present situations, traditional rulers' funds, they have an important role to play. Fighting these situations to end up this crisis in these two regions without involving these funds, it will be a failure. They are the principal heart of this crisis, because look, for instance, you can have the fund of SOP. If they are troubling in SOP, he must at least know some of the sons of the villages who are troubling. He can call them, negotiate, dialogue with them, advise them, tell them what to do. That killings, militaries killing them, all of them are Cameroonians, all of them are the sons and daughters of Cameroon. No solution can be carried out when killing. He discussed with them to put down arms. The both parties, they should put down arms, and solutions will be given to this problem. Because if you look every blessed day, there are atrocity here and there. People being kidnapped, people being killed, lost bullets. In fact, it's troubling, Mr. Babila Jonathan.
Now, you said that some of the funds are involved in politics. Other political party, their stance are already known. So how will they discuss with the people? How will they come to negotiate with the separatists who are already having their own stand, also asking for the restoration of the independence of the former Southern Cameroons?
Separatists, secessionists, they are all sons and daughters of Cameroon. Funds are sons and daughters of Cameroon. There is nothing that cannot have a solutions. The real solutions in this problem, as I can propose, is that His Excellency, our father, our grandfather, the head of state, with his collaborator, the Minister of Territorial Administrations, should see how they can call all these funds, not neglecting one, be it he who is in the CPDM, he who is neutral, he who is in other party. They should call all of them so that they should sit down to find solutions. There's nothing that can have solution when the two parties are fighting. You can look, these forms of killing with machetes, with harsh, other parties are there. You cannot really understand. Look at a woman in the war front, they don't shoot women, but you see what is happening. We cannot even call it a war, because you cannot be in your country, you say you are fighting a war with other party who is arguing. No, they want something. They should sit them down and tell them. They can call even all these secessionists and assure them that they will not be arrested. To sit down with them and really ask them, what do they want? Give them a guarantee that they will not be arrested, so that they sit down, they argued now, they tell the government what they want, so that they can find solutions and give equally proposals to them that, no, what you want, we are proposing to you people this.
Some of the funds which you're saying that they should call the villagers, the young people who are in the bushes carrying guns and so on, and discuss with them, not in good terms with the population because of their political stance. Some of them have been rejected by some of their subjects because of the political stance, notably those who are standing with the CPDM, or who are in the CPDM, or who are in support of government.
The truth in the whole situation is that even if you are in the support of the government, that will not seize your power of a phone. You are like the father, you are like the chiefs of the family. If your children are angry of you, that you have taken a position of being supporting another son's more than the other, you appease yourself. You call all of them to sit down with you and say, my dear children, what has happened has happened. We have been enjoying peace for so many years. Carrying guns, carrying machete, carrying hash, carrying spear or whatsoever to fight the national military that we have been enjoying peace with them. They have been securing our life. Fighting them will not bring a solution. Let us sit down and put our proposals by writing and send to the government and have their response to see what to do, to see the way forward.
They have already made their point clear that they want the restoration of the independence of the former Southern Cameroons and nothing less than that. Do you think government should discuss this with them? Government should call them to the table and discuss cessation with them?
Look, Mr. Babila Jonathan, there is no problem. What do you really think? That these killings, everyday killings, without sitting on the table, you can sit with your enemy and discuss. The truth is bitter, but better to be spoken. You can sit with your enemy and discuss. Something you really know, this is the truth. Yes, there's an error elsewhere. You are complaining about discriminations. You are complaining that the systems of the government is not governed the way it was in place. They can still modify things and everything goes well. They can go back to 61's referendums and see what to do. That can bring solutions to the problem.
No, the head of state has called on the young people to drop the guns, come out of the bushes, and be received in the GDR centers. He has done so on more than 2 times already. The ministers have done so. The prime minister has done so. Other authorities have done so. But the guns are still in the bushes. The guns are still talking. The guns are still shooting. And do you think that the voice of the phones will unlock the deadlock?
The voice, traditional rulers have an important role to play in this situation to bring peace in our country. We have just recently had a national dialogue. Had it been all these phones, they sit on the table, the head of state, the prime minister, minister of territorial administrations, the senate presidents, the president of the National Assembly, they sit with these people and other key ministry. They sit with them, with all this phone, Mr. Babila Jonathan. This is not the first time I'm coming in this your plateau. I have been saying this times and again, phones have an important role to bring peace in these 2 regions. If they involve them, they should not involve them neglecting other phones that their palaces have not been attacked. They should put everybody down. Even they can give them, these guys who are in the bush troubling our family here and there, they can give them guarantee that they will not be arrested.
Right.
And dialogue with them.
General amnesty should be given to everybody? Is that what you're saying?
Pardon?
General amnesty, guarantee that you will not be arrested, you can come home and so on and discuss, even those who are abroad?
Even those who are abroad. Because you can look at the situation, it's those who are abroad who are really, they can send delegations to them. Civil society leaders, with even other phones, they meet them. These phones, they make them to travel. They go abroad with civil society leaders. They discuss with these guys of the justice. They come back with the information. They give them the guarantee that they will not be arrested. Even those secessionists in the bush. Phones, look, let us take for instance, you are a front of a village. Today, if you are a front of, you have your notables, you have your soft chiefs, You have quarter sub-chiefs that you have placed all over to govern the village. You say you are the sub-chief of this quarter, call your population. If you have a son here that is playing a role in this secessionist game, please call him to order. Tell him that he should come. Let us sit down together and find solution. Killing our brothers, killing military. Those are the military. They have come in with independence before we are what we are today. If it happens that today we carry machete, we carry ash, we carry spear to go and be fighting them, that we are looking for our own independence, anything can go on the table and they negotiate. If that's what the government has planned, he is the key leader. He has the knife and the yam, the government.
All right, Chief Moko.
And if the government decide that this crisis would finish, involving these funds and taking the guarantee to these guys in the bushes in diaspora, this crisis will finish. Sending the really people to go and negotiate, this crisis will finish.
All right, Chief Mofo, you are a traditional leader, and I'm pretty sure you have farms, or at least a farm, and you've built a house. You've built a house. Now, what do you think about the fact that henceforth, in the next 4 months, people in the 2 Anglophone regions of the country have to go seek for an authorization from the divisional officer of their area, have to present some identification documents, their phone number, the identity card proves that they have a farm, a building permit, in order to be able to purchase a machete and iron rods, axes, and so on.
Is the reason, the Minister of the Territorial Administration is the reason with his collaborator why he has taken such a decisions. I will say this with a lot of points in it, because we have farms in the villages in these 2 regions, and we are projecting matches to go to this farm. The matches that we have been using to go to this farm, they are there. What he wanted to bring out all these matches, well, that's one of the questions. The old matches that we were using before, how are we to do with it? Are we going to go and seek for an authorization before using them? Or we'll drop them to the DO's office so that he will give us an authorization before we use the machete? This is a question that's at least you need an answer. Because the solution that these guys are using machete and hashes to butcher people, using these rods of building to shoot our military, yes. If you are a builder now and you have to build your house, you need an authorization. You buy 100 rods or 200 rods before you go and build your house. Those who had the rods in their stall in the northwest and southwest, what are they to do now? They need an authorization before they sell, or they will not sell anymore. These are problems that the Minister of the Territorial Administration should really look at it. That will not bring solution to this problem, stopping all these machetes and hashes. That is not the really solutions. Other measures would have been taken. The measures he has taken to closer phones of villages, to dialogue, to negotiate, to bring solution to this problem. I thought at least this is the best solution he has really looked at it.
Chief Joseph Mofo, you are a traditional and civil society leader as well from the northwest region of the country. Thanks for joining us.
I'm a civil society leader. Thank you, Mr. Babila Jonathan. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us today.
Thank you.